Hey guys, it's me, Bitter Steel here, back with another video for Hearts of Iron 4. Now today we have one that's been requested quite a few times by the community, and I am here to obey, so let's hop right in. Basic scenario, 1936, let's go, and we'll be playing as Canada. As Canada, we will be going for it's 1812 all over again, so we have to burn down the White House a second time. Pretty much we just need to control the state of Maryland with Washington DC in it. Yes, I know Washington DC isn't actually located within Maryland, it's just within the scope of the game. And while we're here, might as well also go for rule Britannia, where as a former dominion of the United Kingdom, we must conquer Great Britain. Let's get right into it. We'll leave the game on Iron Man mode, obviously, with historical AI focuses on. I wouldn't want the US doing anything funky. But first, if you like these videos, consider subscribing and hitting that bell icon. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload more content. Other than that, we have a very cool and active Discord community. I'll leave links to that down in the description below. But enough rambling, on to the video. Canada. Nothing fancy here, just a bit of Great Depression. And the Quebecois are being uppity. French Canadians don't want to fight apparently. Start with our focuses. Patriation. We want our liberty as quickly as possible. Let's get that. Construction. Just straight up military factories. Southern Ontario and St. Lawrence are the best places to build. Also, if you're inclined to play Canada for other reasons than just the achievement, I would recommend you build 2 levels of infrastructure in Quebec. This will allow you, in combination with Excavation Tech 2, to click a decision that gives Quebec, I believe, 16 steel. So that's a pretty good deal. Let's just build military factories all over the place. We'll need a lot of guns for what we're about to do. Research, nothing fancy here, just the basics of production, construction, and engineering. Now you'll notice a couple of these techs have bonuses up to 50%. Because we are in the Commonwealth and are best buds with the other nations, we get a 10% bonus for every country that has researched a tech that we don't have yet. So the more countries in the Commonwealth and have that tech, the better, up to a maximum of 50%, I believe. So it's a good idea to pick up a couple of these, like close air here, 40%, synthetic oil, anti-air, 20%. So it's not a bad idea to pick up a couple of these while you're still a puppet. So free speedy research, why not? Production. I want to put 4 on infantry equipment. I don't need tanks. Nope, no light tanks. Instead, I want to build towed artillery, but I don't have access to tungsten. But I will be using artillery later on. So I'm simply not going to trade for tungsten. I'll just accept that I'm producing this at a lower efficiency. It's fine. It's fine. And steel, we'll trade with the US. We'll use their own steel against them. Oh, and dockyards, just build convoys, I guess. Now for the army. We have 13 divisions. Assign them to a general. The good one, or is he? Bert Hofmeister. Yes. And he can set up a front line here against New England. These divisions are not great. District Militia, but it's our best division. Let's see here. You have the District Militia, 18 with infantry block. The Cavalry Militia. Yeah, that's it's not great. And the Armored Division. Yeah, no. So we'll just convert everything into the Infantry Division and have them exercising. That's the basic setup done. Set speed to max. Let's go. Oh, and I just get rid of these naval bombers. They're pointless. Now you'll notice Canada isn't doing great on the manpower front. We've used up everything we have and our army isn't even fully outfitted. No, we're still 15k short. And we can't go to limited conscription either, because we must finish commit to the war. And we cannot finish commit to the war unless we're at war, so yeah. Problem. Fortunately, we can find a little bit more manpower over here under support the blue shirts. Now for the memes, I would have loved to go Red Canada and burn the royal portraits. However, this branch does not offer anything in the way of manpower. Great for production and equipment, but yeah, I need someone to hold those rifles I'm making, so we'll be going with support the blue shirts. Rhineland happening. Patriation, yes, let's go. On to the swastika clubs. Yes, I know, it's been done to death, but it's the most efficient way. And the only realistic way of taking out the United States early. Alright, engineering done. Let's pick up the next level of mechanical computing. Basic machine tools out of the way. We can pick an industry branch, concentrated or dispersed. I'll leave this up to you. It's not a game-changing difference, but personally I prefer dispersed because of the efficiency retention and the efficiency base. You only lose 5% factory output, and these things do help. And we're gonna wait until this finishes. There. Now we are going to pick our first political advisor. 150 PP. Good old Chuck here, the demagogue. And we'll be starting our journey towards a national unity party. Unfortunately, we cannot support the blue shirts just yet. We not only need to be fully independent, we have to be fascist, so we gotta wait. Meanwhile, let's pick up something else. The army modernization here, that's always good. 5% experience, we can use that. Construction is done. Let's have a look here. These are all quite a bit ahead of time, so instead I'm going to work on the doctrines. I don't like Grand Battle Plan, it's not great. Don't like Mass Assault either, it's good. Deep Battle, but I don't like the way it messes with combat widths, so I'm not going to use that. Mobile Warfare is great if you're going tanks, plus some of these bonuses to organization are extremely good, but in single player I would hardly ever pick anything other than superior firepower. It's just that good. I'm going superior firepower. I'm sorry. If they wanted me to play something else, they should have made the other trees better. Now you'll notice in your decisions we can prepare for civil war or open up political discourse. We're going to ignore these for now, since it doesn't matter when we flip, we have to be free anyway, so we have enough time. We'll wait, and with a little bit of luck we'll actually get the event that will allow us to flip via referendum, and that will save us about 75 political power. Okay, army modernization done. Let's get the Rowell Sirois Commission. Rowell Sirois? This thing. 120 PP. Let's go into our recruitment. Division designer. New template, empty. And we are going to add 1 cavalry unit. This is garbage. This is absolute hot garbage. And we are going to recruit 72 of these. Not too many. 72. So 3 full armies. That will be enough. On a high priority. It's important that we get these first. And while we wait for those, I'll train up a couple more. 2 runs of district militia as well to reinforce the army. Now, the only way to defeat the United States is to not actually fight them. Don't get me wrong, we are going to war with the US, but I will do my best to avoid fighting the US military on equal footing. Instead, we will be, well, mostly avoiding them, but you'll see later on. And another 150 PP, let's spend that on Mr. RB Bennett here, silent workhorse, 15% political power, very nice. Computing done, let's check this out. Might as well just pick up radios, it's got a bit of a bonus to it. Industry is done as well. Dispersed 1, immediately going for dispersed 2. Yes, I know it's a little bit ahead of time, but it shouldn't matter that much. Okay, the commission is done. Let's pick up the Crown Corporations. Not an immediate effect, but it will allow us to do the National Housing Act. Getting another factory. Another 150 political power. Nothing interesting here. Sure, war industrialist. How much use is construction speed if you have 2 civies? Popular figurehead, not bad, 50% stability. But instead, I found a hidden gem here in Chief of Army. Harry here, the old guard. 10% less army experience is bad, but 10% more political power. Ooh, that's delicious. I'll take that any day. And with that, we make 1.6 political power every day. Not bad for a Dominion. And at this point, I'm going to stop picking anything else to change about the government. We're just going to be hoarding political power until the world shifts the way we need it to. Superior firepower done, first level. Could pick up the second level, but that's a bit too early. Instead, let's get an industry bonus here. Improve machine tools. Because we need a lot of guns. We need a lot of guns. Crown corporations out of the way. Let's pick up the National Housing Act. 1 more civilian factory. We've got our radios. Computing machines ahead of time. It's not much point to picking construction 2, because how useful is construction speed when you have 2 civilians? No, let's instead go elsewhere. Might as well make use of this bonus for close air support. Oh, if the UK wants to send you stuff, that's really nice of them, but always decline. It would cause our autonomy to go back down. It's not what we want, so bye-bye. Alright, National Housing Act is done. Let's move on here, get the $1 a year men, 100% research bonus for industry. Pretty cool. Got our improved machine tools. What else can we do? This is ahead of time. Might as well pick up interwar artillery. Dispersed 2 out of the way. $1 a year man is still underway. So no bonus to Dispersed 3 yet. Instead, I'll work on the land doctrine, get delay here. Hey, assault divisions form. A tiny sliver of recruitable population in exchange for 5% stability. Overall, not a great deal, but I'll take it. I can always fix stability later. Fascism support up to almost 65%. I could do a referendum now, but I'm still going to wait until we are able to get our freedom. I think it's worth the wait. 75 political power is, like, it's not bad if we can get that for free, right? And just as I finish the sentence, here we go, fascism on the rise. This will allow us to have the referendum for 100 political power, and that way we don't have to pass the political discourse decision of 75 political power. There we go. We have our referendum. And we are now unitary Canada with our cartoon villain, Adrian, in charge. Very nice, Adrian. Very cool. Still a bit off, though, before we can become independent. So we cannot take support the blue shirts yet. We need full independence first. Let's stop by the Canadian Infantry Corps on our way. We've used that bonus on the CAS. Let's get dispersed 3 now. It's ahead of time, but that 100% bonus, I think that makes it worth it. It's halfway into 37, so Japan can start its business any day now. And we still have a bit more to go until we are ready to be independent. So let's put some political power aside. Might want to send an attaché to Japan. Free army experience plus free war support. Meanwhile, I'm going to pick up the last of the big bonuses here, I think. I could do anti-air, not that big. This isn't that big either. I'll just pick up synthetic oil. A 40% bonus is pretty great. Not something I want to sniff at. Alright, the Canadian Infantry Corps is done. We are about 33 days away from our independence, give or take. I don't think... No, we don't have any short focuses we could do now. So instead, I'm going to hold off taking any more focuses until we can support the blue shirts. Sure, we'll miss out on a few teeny tiny bonuses, but all the good stuff is locked behind war bonds and Defensive Canada regulations anyway. We can't take those, so we'll just wait and gather some more political power meanwhile. Oh, and Japan has not missed its date with history. Let's quickly send them an attaché. And maybe improve relations and then send them an attaché. There, 1 attaché. Not only does that give us 10% war support, we are finally getting some army experience in as well. And I realize that Harry there causes it to be 10% less, but still, I very much like this political power gain. Well, we have our fuel storage out of the way, so big bonus. Could go with construction, but like I said, what are we realistically building with 2 civilian factories? Instead, I'll go and get ourselves some better artillery. It's well ahead of time, but still, it's a big bonus.
20 minutes later.
There we go. We can raise our autonomy. Click that button, we become free and get a new color. Lovely. Alright, first things first. We want to fight the United States, but we don't want to fight them yet. Now, we could follow the focus tree here and go down Synergist Baja and skewer the Eagle on defense scheme number 1, but there's a few problems here. 1. Mexico, with their current focus tree, is incredibly unstable. The AI can't handle the focus tree as it is, and with all of this thrown into the mix, this doesn't result in a Mexican ally most of the time. This just makes Mexico a steaming pile of hot garbage that's useless anyway. And join Germany is pretty pointless, because we can just do that manually. Not any real great bonuses down here. Maybe we can demand Labrador, but I intend to take it. No. We will simply be justifying on them. But first, we have to leave the allies. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, UK. Bye-bye. Now, if we were to justify on the US, let's see. That is a lot of world tension we're generating. If we do that, the world goes completely off the rails. Never do this. Instead, well, they have a little puppet here. What if we justify on them instead? Yeah, 305 days, so it's a little slower. I think it's because they managed to hire their Prince of Terror. My timing must have been a few days off, but that's not a huge issue. 305 days, 61 political power, sure. And we can take focuses again. We will support the blue shirts. Let's keep going. Okay, we have our superior firepower. I could take on the next level, but I don't think I will. Instead, let's start working on the infantry equipment. Yeah, we need a lot of guns still. A lot of guns.
A few moments later.
Alright, support to blue shirts is done. We will have some manpower trickling in finally. Like I said, little point to continue with this tree. Instead, let's look back towards the industry. I would very much like to start on Defense of Canada regulations. However, world tension is still too low for that. Instead, let's just get this Royal Regiment of Canadian Artillery instead. Big bonus to support artillery. Not bad. Alright, with that army experience flowing in from the Japanese, I'm going to make a few changes to our infantry division here. This is a straight up infantry block. It's not great by any means. I will be adding 2 artillery battalions, creating a 7-2 divisions. It's not perfect, and we will be changing this later on, but for what we're going to be using them early game, this is fine. If we do this, we will need a lot more towed artillery, a lot fewer infantry equipment, so let's save that. Also frees up a lot of manpower, and to compensate for that, we will be shifting our production away from infantry equipment and into towed artillery. Oh, and if you're wondering why I'm not drawing a front line, because I can't. Something always goes wrong whenever you leave the Allies. For some reason you can't draw front lines anymore in your own territory. I don't know what happens. I don't know why this happens. It is what it is. It's not a big deal. This goes away eventually, and if it doesn't, just exit out of the game and restart. I've got some time before I need to think about restarting. As for our political power, war support is high enough that we can ramp up to partial mobilization. Always a good idea. Alright, we even have better artillery now. Let's focus on the infantry equipment. In terms of research, I am not going to continuously repeat what I'm doing. I will be focusing on a few things. Industry. Keep up to date with industry, obviously. As well as engineering, this is your research speed. Other than that, I will only be putting effort into infantry equipment up here. Maybe a few support companies, but they're not exactly needed. Military police, great if you want to occupy things, and engineer companies, always good. Other than that, artillery, obviously, and land doctrines whenever I have 100 army experience to burn. And that is it. I will not be dabbling in fancy air or tanks. Well, maybe air. I might dabble a bit in air, but definitely not tanks or navy stuff. I'll just steal the US's navy. As for focuses, I want to go for defensive Canada regulations. Unfortunately, we're not quite there yet. We're only at 15% world tension. So instead, let's get Red Deer training camp, 5% army experience, and a bonus to land doctrine. Always nice. I'd like a little bit more stability. Usually I would improve worker conditions. That's always a good deal, but I don't like the way that it reduces factory output. I think we'll just have to suffer it. Good stability is great. And yeah, the higher our stability, the more our factories produce. Alright, Red Deer training camp done, and yes, Defensive Canada regulations, here we come. Let's have a look here. Philippines, how long is this still going to take? Yeah, 200 days, so 105 days left. Alrighty, our horses are starting to trickle in. Let's divide these over 3 armies. Yeah, 3. I'll use 1 army here around the Lake Michigan area. Their purpose is to swing out towards Detroit and Buffalo. Ideally, if ever they decide not to defend Buffalo, I would rush through here, straight towards Philadelphia and Newark, and cut off New England. That will allow my infantry to push down and crush all those divisions. And if they do garrison it, well, that's just the units are there to prevent the enemy from rushing into my land. We have another 150 PP, might as well use it. We cannot ramp up our conscription laws, unfortunately. War economy, need more war support. Political advisors, nothing really fancy in here. Sure, the war industrialist is pretty neat, but we have like 2-3 civilians to actually build with. So instead, let's improve the military, get the artillery experts. Okay, we're about 50 days off and the battle plans still aren't working. I'm quickly going to restart the game and I'll be back in a jiffy. Alright, restarted the game. It should work now. Let's see, try some battle lines here. Yeah, we can finally draw battle lines again. Great. Alright, I'll set these up and then I'll quickly go over what the plan is. Alright, I've drawn my battle plans. Let's go over them right to left. On the right here, New England. This is where the majority of the US forces are stationed right now, and they're facing off against our own troops. Idea here is to bottle these up and make some use of the occasional gap in their lines, like here, because the US doesn't have the troops to man its entire front line. Sure, they're a powerhouse, but they haven't been able to ramp up yet. It's only 1938, and let's see. They're still on undisturbed isolation and disarmed nation. They've got like 10 military factories at this point. They'll ramp up quickly, but not quick enough. Over near Lake Michigan, a 2-pronged assault. Assuming they move troops from Buffalo and or Detroit, we will rush out. If Buffalo moves, we will rush towards the shore. New York, Providence, Boston to cut off the American troops in New England, then rush the cavalry south towards Washington and the rest of the victory points, while the infantry cleans up the US military presence there. If that fails, will adjust. Over here near Detroit, same story. If this division moves somehow, we'll move to encircle it or bypass it, head for Detroit and push towards Chicago and down into the Midwest. And over here on the left, the very lengthy piece of the border. This will be Swiss cheese for the Americans. They absolutely do not have the units to man this. There will be gaps here and there. Just push through those gaps, push south towards victory points, quickly expand and just rush south and just ignore their troops. They'll be cut off, they'll start running out of organization, or they'll just flounder in the great Canadian wilderness up here. You'll see, you'll see. We have about 40 days left, so I'm going to rush these horses out. They don't have to be trained at all. It's fine that they're completely untrained. But we do want to assign them a couple of generals though. Now I'm also going to force deploy these infantry divisions once they're ready. This isn't ideal, but I'd rather have them in the field as green recruits than out here being trained. I need more units. They don't have to be great, I just need more of them. Defense of Canada is done. Let's see here. We will start our fight in 35 days. And once again, we don't have any short focuses to do. Now we could move on and get the National Resources Mobilization Act, which is pretty great. Factory output, recruitable pop, a little bit of a stability loss, but still pretty great. But instead, I'm going to wait and pick up war bonds the instant we can. Otherwise, we run the risk of having to hold back from capitulating the United States because we would be too fast. So this will only be halfway done. Then we have to do another 35 days. While we fight the US, and then another 70 days keeping them in the war. While if we just rush this, that's just that much quicker that we can end this. So I'm going to wait. Alright, there we go. Justification is finished. Now for the actual fighting, this will be extremely micro-intensive. What I will be doing is finding gaps in the lines. Where are they? Like here, and here, and here, and here. And microing my units in there and trying to bypass the enemy instead of actually fighting them. So let's get the micro going. For focuses, we can start on war bonds. That's the first encirclement done. Let's quickly mop that up, destroy this unit, and push out from here. Now I was hoping to do that from Buffalo, but it doesn't look like that unit is moving to reinforce, so I'm going to redeploy the cavalry to this area now. Behind the encirclement, there's nothing left there anyway. I'll leave 2 divisions in place, and the other 16 can rush towards the Boston Harbor. Once they hit Boston and take that port, there's nothing left to reinforce these troops. Other fronts, Detroit, pretty much a standstill. I am pushing up here from the north towards Milwaukee and Chicago, okay, as the rest is concerned, and creating a couple of encirclements here. Once I finish this encirclement here, I will move as many horses down to this section as I can, and then just set an offensive order to the south on aggressive. Keep the AI guessing where I'm going. And yeah, these units are going to retake their ports. That is perfectly fine. I don't care. Alright, we've got a nice big continuous line here. Again, this is much better and more efficient if you just do this with micromanagement. However, this should work as well. Just set an offensive order to the south, and these units will start attacking south. Now, in case the AI is, well, not cooperating, just set a couple of manual orders to take some victory points. Just rush them south. The US doesn't have any more troops in the heartland. Just send these aggressive orders to the south, anywhere just away from the US army, so they don't accidentally engage anything. These units up north, they can flounder as much as they want. We don't really care. They're irrelevant to the rest of the campaign anyway. Now this section of the line can hold. This is, yeah, there's no real gaps here. Doesn't matter. Now the cavalry can rush to Boston. We've got a good shot at encircling much of the enemy here. Do make sure to pin enemy divisions. Don't want our forces being intercepted. Horses are rushing for these ports pretty much unopposed, so that's great. We've already cut them off near Providence. Sent some troops to New York as well. If we take Boston, that's it. So I see that the AI is responding, so I'm going to start pinning their divisions in place. I don't want them to get out of this encirclement. I think we can safely attack here. We've completed the encirclement. I'll move a couple more divisions into Boston to help reinforce it, so the enemy doesn't take that. The infantry divisions will clean up this pocket as best they can. The cavalry is going to mop up this bit here near Newark and push through, and then launch a all-out offensive here from Maryland and Pennsylvania and push all the way to Texas. There shouldn't be any more troops in the hinterland here. This should be it. Every soldier they have is pretty much committed by now. 35 days, yes, and our progress is not great, not terrible. And yeah, cavalry here is just doing what they want pretty much. Yeah, sure, they managed to get their units out of this encirclement, but realistically, where are they gonna go? The horses are everywhere. There's pretty much no stopping them now. As soon as we can contract this ring around the army located in New England, we have them. These units will be destroyed, and we won't have to worry about the US military might anymore. This is a good portion of their army that we're destroying here. Now, I realize that this is not exactly the most visually appealing gameplay, but hey, if it works, we can add on to the military high command. Nothing really fancy here. No, might as well just get the war industrialist. Oh, and we control Maryland with Washington right here next to Baltimore. So with that, we do have one achievement in the bag. 1812 all over again. We've burned ourselves another White House. I bet the Americans are sorry now. Oh boy. The Americans are well on their way to losing this. Oof. They still got quite a few divisions, but they're being useless up here to the north. Just my horses riding circles around them. Alright, we have the war bonds. Let's keep moving. Now at this point, it doesn't really matter what focuses you pick. I suggest sticking with the center branch here and picking things that increase your output and that give you more factories. Later on here you have the option between send in the zombies, which gives you more recruitable pop, but it's not that needed. The other option here is National Steel Car, more factories. I would recommend sticking with National Steel Car, because once we've dealt with the United States of America, they'll be working for us, and we'll be using their manpower. As for this fight, let's see if it's almost over. Yeah, 4% to go, so we'll pick up some victory points here and there.
Eventually.
And there we go. The United States has capitulated. They never stood a chance, really. Great. I'll pass a few times. What will we be doing? Well, I'd like to have myself some Puerto Rico and the Marianas Federation, and I'll get Hawaii. I could satellite the Philippines. It does mean we'll have to pick a fight with Japan. And the Philippines aren't that great. So I'll leave that option up to you. Personally, I'm going to ignore the Philippines. Instead, I will simply puppet the United States of America and leave it at that. There we go. The Free American Empire, subject nation of unitary Canada. We've just shown the world who the real power in North America is. And it's only September of 1938, so we've got about a year to build up to take on our other enemy here. We're coming for you, Britain. We're coming for you. I had some trouble with the original save game, so I went back and did it all over again. What happened was, for some reason, I think the Americans had violated the naval treaties, giving the UK a war goal on them. And the instant we puppeted the Free American Empire here, the United Kingdom declared, which was, well, pretty bad deal since we were in no position to contest that. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. Meanwhile, let's start organizing. We can get rid of these horse divisions. They have served their purpose. They can go. Let's check out our production. Ooh, we have quite a few factories here. Let's start heavily ramping up. What we're going to be producing is infantry equipment, artillery, and a bit of support equipment. If you want to spice things up, feel free to produce some fighters or some CAS. Or if you really want to go tanks, be my guest, go tanks all you want. World is your oyster. With the American industry under our control, we will dominate. Now, let's turn our attention to the United Kingdom. We need to conquer Great Britain, and the easiest way to do that is to join the Axis. Germans said yes. Great. Now we can launch a naval invasion from Wilhelmshaven and hit the UK around Hull. It's my favorite spot. However, we're not quite there yet. Let's keep producing and trading. We will be trading with the Americans for our resources. It's the easiest way. And to offset that and push their independence down, we will build a very, very large amount of military factories in their territory. Not only do those military factories benefit us, since we get a certain percentage of their military factories, it's a great way of forcing down their autonomy. And let's go here. Once their autonomy is low enough, we will be able to integrate them and seize the American fleet. While we wait for that, more focuses are to be had in this area. I suggest focusing on the ones that improve your military factories and your production capabilities. I'm not going to continuously point out what I'm doing. There's some good ones here, like extra research slot under the National Research Council, the Defense Research Grant, that's another research slot. There's a bunch of free military factories all over the place, some civilian as well. If you have to choose between sending in the zombies and National Steel Car, I recommend going with National Steel Car. Or if you need it for the achievement, pick send in the zombies, doesn't really matter. National Steel Car would be best since we can just use American manpower instead of our own. Now let us continue to work on that. As far as the military is concerned, keep training. We don't have that much manpower, but we will use some American manpower later. I'm not going to use their templates just yet. I want to integrate them first so we can have their fleet, and I'll make their templates later on. If I do it now, integrate them, and then release them again, there's something wrong with the templates. They don't get saved. That's just going to be a waste of army experience. So first step, integrate the Americans. And a good step towards that is by ramping up to war economy. Now, with that war economy in place, I am going to hoard political power until we have 300. I need 300 so we can integrate the Americans as quickly as possible. And their autonomy should be dropping pretty quickly with all of our building. And not only that, we can just send them a bunch of convoys to quickly force down the rest of their autonomy. Once we are there, just need 100 PP to move forward. Alright, we're almost up to 300 PP. Still need to get their autonomy down a bit. I'm just going to send them about 600 convoys. We'll get them back anyway when we integrate them, so it's no loss to do it. And we can integrate the US. Let's click that, annex them. Very nice. Big Canada. Unfortunately, not a lot of factories for Big Canada. We're not really getting a lot of manpower out of this, are we? Now, this looks very nice on a map, this here unitary Canada. However, it's not very functional, I'm afraid. No. Upside is massive navy. We now have the entirety of the US Navy at our disposal, so I'm going to quickly gather that up. That's cool. However, we really don't have the manpower or the equipment to police the United States. They are much more used to us if we simply release them as a puppet again and just start building up again. Now, I am going to hold on to Panama. Panama Canal is ours now, so I'll hold on to that. And again, continue building in those American territories to force down their autonomy as quickly as possible. Want them at integrated puppet for best results. Now this does hurt our production for a bit, but that's fine. There's no real hard timer on this. There is no United States that can join the Allies, so we can swoop in at any time of our choosing and destroy the United Kingdom. Now ideally we do that before the Germans get too much war score, but we have time. It's only May of 39, and I think we have good PP gain. We should be able to force the United States down fairly quickly. I'm not going to send them too many of my boats this time though. I just want to force it down by constructing in their territory. In preparation of our glorious invasion of the United Kingdom, let's have a look at their divisions. The Confederate States of America have a lot of manpower and we plan to use it. I think the best base to start with is the National Guards division, so I'll copy that. Oh, I'm also going to get rid of several of these terrible templates. None of these are particularly good. There. Edit the National Guards division. It's pretty chunky. I'm going to add 2 infantry battalions and 4 artillery battalions. There. Nice 40 with 14-4 shock division. This is going to be perfect for taking out the UK. This is very, very effective in single player. All you need is these guys, maybe some fodder to hold the line if you can't produce a lot of them, and ideally some green air and close air support. This will destroy the AI. So let's train a couple of these. Now we don't need as much political power if we are going to force them down one more time. To Reichskommissariat, that only takes 50 PP if I'm not mistaken. Annexing takes 300, so we can spend a little bit while we push them down some more. Not really picky at this point. Just take whatever you like, maybe a Chief of the Navy with your newfound fleet. Nothing great in other positions, really. I'm just going to go for free trade or production. The rest doesn't really matter. And Poland refuses German ultimatum. That means WW2 has just kicked off. We are not, I repeat, we are not joining in this fight. Not until we're good and ready and our troops are in position. Like I said, we have time. Just let Germany and Italy do their thing in Europe. Need to force them down about 330. I'll send them a few convoys. Why am I sending convoys? Well, convoys is the most cost-effective way of forcing down the puppet's autonomy. 450 still leaves me with plenty of convoys. Alright, these 14-4s are finishing production and I'll ship them over to Germany. Like this tile here beneath Wilhelmshaven. Not the actual port, this is Marshland. And you'll take more attrition and your generals are going to get sick. And we can force the US down again. Let's make them a Reichskommissariat. That should see a lot more manpower contribution from them. And we should be getting a lot more factories as well, but I think it's bugged again. This will not update until I've reloaded the game. A lot of funny business going on there. A lot of funny business. Now, I do need that extra production, so I'm quickly going to relaunch the game one more time. Alright, reloaded the game. And behold, military factories. Yeah, it's a bit lame that you constantly need to reload, but it is what it is. Not much I can do about that. Just have to work with what we got. And with that extra production, we will be able to outfit our units in no time. Germans are still making a mess in the Low Countries, but it does seem they've finally broken through. So at least semi-competent Germany, I suppose. I will send the fleet across to Wilhelmshaven in preparation. It will provide naval invasion support in the North Sea. Now I've also created a basic 7-2 division out of these American troops. As long as we can use American manpower, we will. Canada's manpower pool is tiny, teeny tiny. So we're always better off just using the Americans as our sledgehammer. Alright, all of the infantry's made it across. Time to set up our invasion plans. From Wilhelmshaven, we will be hitting Hull and its surrounding area. Can only use 10 divisions, so we'll make 5 landings of 2 troops each. Should be enough to breach any defense they have in place. And from there, we'll push and destroy the United Kingdom with 1 naval landing. Alright, it's March of 1940. It's time, I think, to put that final nail in the UK's coffin and claim our birthright. We are going to make sure they are very, very sorry. Let's ask the Germans if we can tag along. Simply join that, and our naval invasions should be off. Put the speed down, yeah, accept, whatever. And of course our massive fleet is more than enough to secure supremacy over the sea tiles. And our naval invasion is off. I will not be calling the Americans in though. Now at this point, the UK is fairly committed in Norway. They are very committed in Africa. So I think we should be able to handle this without too much difficulty. Even so, oh, well, you never really know what the UK has on the home islands. Could be a disaster. Oh yeah, it looks like they actually still have quite a lot here. I will need to do some micro. But then again, our 40 width divisions are pretty great. The UK doesn't really have much to stand up to these. And success, we've taken the port. Time to ferry the rest of these boys across as well. What I want to do first is cut this country in half, push out to the north and then go south. I am going to try and encircle London without capturing it, that way I can occupy the entirety of the islands without capitulating the UK. Now I am mildly concerned by the very, very, very large amount of troops I'm seeing here, but that's okay. Our reinforcements are arriving. I think we can do this, and I still believe we can do this. Just have to capture some local victory points so we don't run out of supply instantly. Oh god, yeah, they're hitting us hard. Yeah, invading the UK is a little bit hit and miss. Sometimes they have virtually nothing in the home islands, other times they have, well, most of their army here, and it's looking like this is the second of those two options. And because we're not able to really push out quickly, we are having some supply issues, and that is really, really hurting our organization. So we gotta attack and expand. Okay, we've managed to cut them in half, successfully at least, so that's done. And again, there's really no predicting just how many troops the UK has at home, but your divisions are far superior to whatever they can produce. So with a little bit of micromanagement, you should be able to find those gaps in the line, those weak spots, concentrate your strength there and keep attacking. Don't let them recover, don't let them build up organization. We have to break them. We cannot afford to sit back and relax. And of course, every encirclement helps. Destroyed divisions won't be popping up anytime soon. Oh boy, that's a lot of British divisions trapped there in Wales. I hope we can close that pocket. Ooh, they're gonna put a lot of pressure on this to try and relieve it. Yeah, UK still has a lot of troops left. I thought they'd have less by now, or at least less in the home islands. They are committed to the defense. Now from this point on, the plan is to occupy everything except for the capital. That way we will have occupation, and when we stroll into London in that split second before the capitulation fires, we will have full occupation of the British home islands, well, minus Northern Ireland, but that's not required. And the noose is tightening around London, and well, the UK won't be putting up too much of a fight. And with that, we have completed the full encirclement of London. Still have quite a few divisions in there, but we have 2040 with surrounding it, ready to attack at a moment's notice. So I'll just draw an attack order there. We'll not do anything else but keep them bottled up, right up until the point that we've cleaned out the islands. Here in the north, we want full occupation of this territory before we end this. And with that, we control the entirety of Great Britain, minus the bit of Northern Ireland. This is not required for the achievement. And London itself, this is required. And it will be the final bit we take. And there go the last British defenders. Boom! London has fallen. Pause the game the instant we occupied it. At this point, we fully occupy the entirety of Great Britain. The home islands are fully under Canadian control. Well, except for Northern Ireland, it's not required. With that, we have Rule Britannia. Let's head on to the peace deal and see what we get. Okay, so I say we came out of this peace deal fairly well. We have a chunky British Empire as our puppet. We have reclaimed Labrador and Newfoundland. These are all glorious Canadian territory. And most importantly, we finished 2 more achievements. There we go. I'd say we have done our duty. Look at that glorious, glorious Canada. Now I hope you've enjoyed this video. A lot of you have requested Canada, so I hope that this satisfies your expectations. If it did, leave a like. Consider subscribing if you want to see more videos like this, and hit me up in the comments. I'm always looking for some more suggestions. We're pretty short on achievements by now, so if you have any good mods you can recommend or any fun challenges I could do, I'm always looking for more stuff. If you didn't like it, that's fine. Just hit that dislike button and tell me in the comments what I did wrong. I'm always looking to learn. And once again, I want to put out a massive shout out to my Patreon supporters. Thank you guys for helping to make these videos a reality. You guys are the best. Thank you so much. And with that, I think we're done here. Bittersteel out.